All right, I got you guys on mute, just FYI, so if you have something you want to say, be sure to unmute yourself. So welcome everybody to our weekly Law of Attraction Roundtable call. My name is Kevin Young, my wife Suzanne and I, in the other window there, will be facilitating the roundtable discussion tonight. Our company's personal success programs, and we host webinars, workshops, and coaching programs, all based in the Law of Attraction. We're located in a suburb of Detroit, Michigan, outside just a little bit, called Novi. We're hosting these free online calls as a way to build a global community of Law of Attraction practitioners, just like you guys. So we appreciate that you guys are on the call tonight. So a little housekeeping, just relax and be comfortable, nothing serious going on here. If you want to talk to us, raise your hand. If you're just on the phone, you don't have a hand button, so just go ahead and speak up. Please keep yourself muted if you're on the phone. *6 is the mute and unmute button for telephone only. And then if you're on the computer, please keep yourself muted unless you're going to talk here, because we can hear background noise sometimes. And the mute button is the little microphone that has a slash through it when you're muted. The workshop is being recorded. We email the recordings out afterward and then also upload them to YouTube in a few days. So you can go back and listen in on past Law of Attraction Roundtable recordings and all sorts of little tidbits. We've been doing these since May, so we've got lots of good information up there in our YouTube channel. Most importantly, let's have a good time here tonight. Future calls, Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Our website is personalsuccessprograms.com if you want more information, and you can also find us on Facebook. So let's get kicked off here. So today's 10-minute topic is called the art of active listening. So this is one of the coaching core competencies that I get certified in. I was certified in when I became a certified coach. And it also has some Law of Attraction bits tossed in here for fun. So I'm teaching this, actually this module plus a number of the other ones we've had on these roundtable calls in a 90-day program coming up on October 4th called Fill Your Business with Perfect Clients. Just a way to use Law of Attraction to attract and keep perfect clients in any kind of business. So if you're interested in that, please contact us after the fact. So this module here is called Active Listening. So what is the art of active listening then? So it's the act of tuning into a person at all levels, not just in the auditory manner. The people communicate actually at a lot of different levels, and we're trained this as a coach to listen at all these levels. Obviously what's being spoken is pretty prevalent, but often what's not being spoken, what's not being said, has just as much meaning. Things like body language, whether they're sitting back, you've seen that with the arms folded, or if they're looking forward, or maybe they're looking around or looking down. All those have additional meanings as part of the communication that's going on. As an active listener, you want to be listening in or listening with your eyes to see what's going on. Tone of voice, whether they're monotone, animated, soft, loud, how fast they're talking, are they fast, slow, kind of melancholy. And most importantly of all, particularly for the Law of Attraction people on the phone, energy is the most important part of all of it. So this is what you pick up by your sixth sense, your heart, your gut. The heart-to-heart energy connection is the most important connection when it comes to communications. And it's the most important way to listen to somebody. When we're in our coaching training, we call this coaching presence. So a coach has the job of becoming present when they engage with a client. And that coaching presence is an energy connection. So when I listen to you as a coach, I'm not just hearing your words, but I'm hearing all those aspects, plus I'm feeling the energy that you're feeling. I'm tapping into what's going on with you. So I can tell if you're going down an aligned path or a misaligned path for you by feeling how the energy feels as you're talking. And then part of the coaching process then is to help you regain your alignment. It's very powerful. I didn't even talk about Law of Attraction in coaching per se, but it was actually built on Law of Attraction 30-some years ago. So what is it that prevents us from listening to another person? How often do you hear the words, but maybe you miss the meaning? Well, there's a couple of obvious things. Not being engaged is the first thing in the conversation. Being distracted by other things, not getting your full focus on a person. Another thing that's very common, particularly when you have business conversations, is listening in order to respond, as opposed to listening in order to understand the other person. So if you're listening to get just enough information so you can say what's on your mind, you're not actually listening. You're just prepping for an argument. And then also, more or less obvious things are cultural and societal differences, like a person's accent or different terminology that they might use and so forth. So what are the benefits of becoming an active listener? I mean, why even listen to any of this that I'm saying? So, well, some of the obvious benefits are that you can hear the real meanings behind the words, because sometimes the words are masking what the meanings are. You can also, this active listening shows appreciation for who they are and where they're coming from, and this gets into the foundation of building relationships, hearing the other person, making that connection. Also, if you get into the energy area of this, you can actually sense when they believe that what they're saying is true and they don't believe it. So if you want to coach or support somebody, listening in to see if they actually believe what they're saying or not is an important feedback. And this helps somebody feel heard and respected and supported. And again, part of building a relationship. And most importantly for us, as the listener, to be an active listener, we have to be in alignment. Law of Attraction Foundation there. Otherwise, we can't tune into the other person's energy, and you can't feel what they're saying underneath the surface. So being an active listener, the most important thing is to find your own alignment first. The great Dale Carnegie, whose Dale Carnegie course and book How to Win Friends and Influence
I
People,
thought you were watching something
understood
else.
Law of Attraction like 100 years ago when he created his 30 human relations principles, and he dedicated a number of them to listening. For instance, let the other person do a great deal of the talking,
I'm on the computer.
listener, encourage others to talk about themselves, become genuinely interested in the other person, and so on. It's a great course, by the way, if you haven't taken Dale Carnegie. It's very powerful and life-changing was for me and Suzanne as well. So here are a few techniques about active listening that you can apply. Don't interrupt, don't listen just to respond, and don't try to problem solve. Those are the big don'ts. The do's are be present. Come to the conversation as a blank slate, so you're open to whatever the conversation has to offer without any judgment or opinion. Sometimes I find that when I get into coaching, before I get into a coaching session, I'll meditate or I'll find other alignment techniques so that I can make that connection ahead of time so that I'm totally present in the conversation. Obviously, eliminate your distractions and try, and this is something if you haven't done it before, this is a really cool thing to practice. Try listening at multiple levels when you're sitting there, not just verbal. Try feeling the energy. See if you can detect what's actually going on. Pay attention to the body language. Kind of get inside the head and the mind and the heart of the other person and see if you can really make that energy person to person, heart to heart connection. Feel that energy that they're transmitting. And you can always know that everybody's doing the best that they can in the moment with the awareness that they have. So going into a conversation with that as a listener is an incredible gift to the other person and will really empower you as a listener. So here's a little exercise that you can do if you want. If you want to try practicing this active listening technique, and that you need a partner, a friend, somebody you can trust that you want to try this with. It's actually a lot of fun, and it's pretty eye-opening. So it takes about 10 minutes total. So partner up with somebody, pick a story that you want to tell the other person, maybe something that they haven't heard before about your personal life. Those are usually the best stories anyway. And just talk for 5 minutes. The other person, all they can do is listen. You can't respond. And you can say, you can agree, but that's about it. And then write down maybe whatever important points are from the conversation. So once the 5 minutes is up, set a timer if you like, swap sides, and then do it again. So now the other person has to tell their story, and then the first person now is the listener, and then cannot engage in the conversation. All you can do is just nod and be in agreement and listen, and see what happens. Discuss your experience of listening only with the other person to see what that felt like. And one of the most powerful things when I've done this in workshops before is people say they've never actually been listened to for 5 straight minutes without somebody interrupting or contradicting them. To me, that's kind of a shame. It tells me that they haven't had a coach, certainly, in their lives. So it's a very powerful exercise, and it's a great technique to have in your toolkit and to use in your law of attraction ventures to communicate with other people. So that's about it on active listening. I don't know if there's any questions or comments on that. If not, then let's go ahead and let's just open up the phones and we'll see what comes up for you guys. Looks like we got a few more people on the phone here. Oh, Emily, you got your hand up there. I'm going to unmute you and do your hand. All right, so go ahead and unmute yourself, Emily. There you go.
Am I there?
All right, you ready to chat?
I am.
Can't hear you if you're talking.
Okay.
Muted by chance?
Hold on. I think I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Afraid we can't hear you, Emily.
Oh, wow. You can hear me?
Maybe one more try.
Oh, can you hear
And
me?
by the way, if you can't,
I can hear.
Get your microphone working for whatever reason, if we can't hear you, you can always call in on the dial-in with a direct phone and a PIN number. In the email that you received when you registered, you can just go to the email and dial the number, and then you'll be online.
Oh, can you hear me yet?
So, all right. So while Emily's figuring out her tech support problems, who else wants to chime in? Who else has a question or a comment? I want to get into law of attraction stuff here. We got a few people on the line now. Suzanne says she hears Emily.
Yeah, and I heard several people say I can hear Emily.
Suzanne, go ahead and say something there.
I'm talking.
Oh, that's interesting. Now I can't hear you. Oh, that's going to be interesting.
That is interesting.
So Kevin's the one with the problem here.
Kevin is the one. Hang on there, Emily.
Okay.
Okay, now Kevin's the tech support problem here.
Good thing he's going to help himself.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've had some bizarre things this weekend. We had an all-day workshop, Law of Attraction Foundations, on Saturday. It was a fantastic workshop, but the laptop just kind of took a dive. It wouldn't behave at all, which was probably just as well because we had an awesome conversation without it. So I don't know what's going on, but I can hear everybody now, yes. So my apologies, Emily. My fault there. So go ahead and jump right in.
Okay. So this is my question. I have a friend who is going through a hard time with her personal life, with work, and she's going through a divorce, but she's dating, and she shares, like, she bounces things off of me for my opinion, but because I've never met personally any of the other people she's talking about, I try to respond to what she's asking me opinion-wise, and I find myself saying that it's hard for me to really comment because I only know her. I don't know the other people that she's talking about, and so I feel kind of inadequate about replying because I feel I need to know, or I need to have met the people that she's, these other males that she's, and I just, that's hard for me. So does that pertain to this topic? I mean,
so what are your feelings?
Well, my feelings are, I'm not that great at relationships myself so far, but I always tell her, well, you should go with your gut. What does your gut tell you? And she'll say her gut tells her one thing, but she wants to follow her heart. And so I can kind of understand that. But every time we get together, she brings these topics up. And I just don't know how to respond without throwing out like cliche responses, like it'll work itself out, or
how would you like to be helpful?
I'd like to be helpful, but I don't know how to. I care that she's going through these issues, but I don't know how to help her. And I wondered if you had any suggestions, because I don't want her to feel she can't talk to me about it, just to at least get it out of her system.
Hmm.
But I don't know.
Do you
I
need
try
to?
to go, well, the law of attraction, you've manifested this. And so she kind of like, because she's been to one of the meetings.
Hmm.
So she kind of gets it when I say that, but she doesn't always think that the law of attraction applies to absolutely everything.
Okay, so she's asking for your opinion, but it sounds like maybe some of it she doesn't necessarily want to hear.
I think so. But I don't want to
Okay,
blow her off.
okay.
But so,
So what I'm hearing is that you want to be supportive of your friend
mm,
and help her in ways that'll improve her situation with the relationships and so
mm,
forth. Okay. And so I don't know if you heard what I was doing with you there. I was
no.
asking you questions.
Um,
And,
no, I'm
and
sorry, I missed your
no,
question.
no, it's okay. What I was obviously I wasn't very good at it.
Uh,
So part of the part of actually we talked about it. I think it was in last week's roundtable call, which is up on YouTube if you weren't on the line. Was how to ask empowering questions.
uh,
And part of coach training that I go through or went through to become a coach was being able to formulate questions that don't have judgment or direction in them, but elicit awareness in the other person.
I remember
Uh,
that.
yeah, okay. So it's one of those things that doesn't come naturally to most of us, and it requires really being in a place of intense curiosity. So one of the things, in fact, you do bring up something that's important here that I wanted to mention, and you triggered it perfectly, and that is that the questioning, powerful questions, and active listening actually go hand in hand. They're two parts of the same tool, so to speak, in coaching. So when you ask questions, you always ask questions from a place of curiosity, never judgment and never direction. And this is speaking as a coach. You don't have to follow the coaching rules necessarily, but maybe the tips will help you a little bit. So instead of feeling like you have to solve their problem, because as a coach, I'm not allowed to solve anybody's problem. My job is to help the other person solve their own problems, because that's the only one that sticks anyways. We all know that. Somebody tells you what to do, and you say, yeah, 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 and then you don't do it. Because it wasn't in harmony necessarily with you. Only you and your inner being know what's in harmony with you. So by asking questions and continuing to be focused in on what the next thing is that feels like you should ask that will help them help themselves, then if you wanted to take that on, then you might find she'd make a lot of progress. Again, it's not your job. You know, you're doing the best you can as a good friend. How does that land with you, Emily?
It, I understood what you said,
Okay.
but I don't know what questions I could ask her, because I find that um, I typically will say, you know what's best for you right now, and this will work out, this will work itself out. You might not like the way it'll work out, but this is going to work
So
its way
does
out.
that feel like it's uplifting her?
I don't, well, I guess if somebody said that to me, I wouldn't consider that very uplifting, but I
Okay.
don't know
So
how to respond to her without being judgmental, because she's trying to carry on relationships with like three different people, and
okay.
she's telling me that that's very stressful for her. And
Mm,
but then when one person kind of falls out of the herd, so to speak, for a couple of days, she'll comment about how, I just felt so much better not having to deal with this person for these last few days. There's like such a weight lifted off my shoulders, so to speak. I felt
Okay,
so much lighter.
so
And
right
I'll
there you have a
say,
perfect opportunity right there.
and
Go
and
ahead.
I say, well, then I kind of come back with, well, I don't think he's right for you. But that
So right
sounds
there,
judgmental.
well, it's not only judgmental, but you really have no idea because you're not
Yeah,
her inner being. And
right.
so what you're doing, and this is just talking about from a law of attraction standpoint now,
Hmm.
you're, and this is what most of us do. And so this is where you have an opportunity if you want to take the conversation to the next level, is to see if you can detach from your judgments about what she should be doing or what's right or wrong. And again, this is one of the hardest things to do. In coach training, it took us a good year to practice this and get good at it. Is simply to turn it back into either a question or a positive acknowledgement, and then listen. So, good job. What can you give us a name that we could use here? Mary or
Gary.
something?
Gary.
Gary, that's her name?
No, well, her name is Lynn, but the person that one of the people she fluctuates with is this guy named Gary.
Okay, so if you want to approach it from a coaching standpoint, which also includes a law of attraction standpoint, uh, then you have to take your own opinion out of the mix.
Okay.
You may not be able to do that easily if it's a friend you've known for a while and if you have a strong opinion. It's hard. I'm going to encourage you if you want to give this a try because it sounds like is this important to you?
It is because it just twists her up in knots, and she's got so much else going on. And I don't want to say to her, I just don't know what to say anymore, because then I feel like I'm blowing her off.
So
Because
then,
I
so
really
that's
don't know what to say.
so. Would you like some suggestions?
Yes, please.
Okay. So see how long you can go without actually giving her advice or making an opinion. Because see, as you said beautifully earlier, if somebody told me this one thing, about your opinion or whatever, you would probably back off. You'd probably feel it wasn't uplifting. Did
Hmm.
you hear that? Did you hear that part?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Okay. So that's part of putting yourself in the other person's shoes. And that's why advice actually very seldom works. There's an old
Okay.
saying, I think Dale Carnegie said, be chary about giving your advice. Uh, Fools won't heed it and wise men don't need it. And I found that to be largely true. So that's why asking questions to help her have self-exploration will help.
An
What's that?
idea of a question.
I'm sorry? Somebody was on the line there for a second.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, I thought that was you.
Oh, no. Uh-uh.
Okay. So, when she says, what she was saying about blowing off this guy? She said, I don't think he was working out or something.
Well, I told her that I didn't think that he was right for her.
Okay, but before that, what she said?
Oh, she said not having him, around for a few days just felt so stress-free because of the way he just needs to always be in contact with her.
Great. So now there's your
Yeah.
opportunity right there. So just let's stop right there. Okay.
Okay.
So she's found some relief for herself. So if you're listening to her instead of, as we were talking about earlier, trying to find a way to respond, and you're just listening, that sounds like she gave herself some relief. So you can say something like, well, that's great, Lynn. Congratulations. You found yourself some relief. Good job.
Oh, okay.
Now that's just an acknowledgement of something that she's already determined in the moment. Now tomorrow she might go and date him again,
Right.
and that's her business,
Uh-huh.
right? So if
Uh-huh.
she says, "Oh, darn it, I dated this guy again, and I had some problems." Okay, the natural thing that most of us do would be, "Well, I told you if or you said this yesterday," but instead you can say, "Well, I'm sorry to hear that. How are things working out? What can I do to help?" So
Okay.
you get into the shoes. We like to say you're talking from the source perspective, that is her own inner being, the broader intelligence, the loving side. So
Mm-hmm.
what direction that she goes, it feels right for her. Then if you can feed that back, then she'll actually find her own path better than anybody giving her advice. even a professional, can't know what her own path is. Only her own inner being knows what the path is towards anything that's important to her. And that's why most advice doesn't work, is because we can't know what the path is from the inside. But she can if she feels good. If she can be helped to find her path back up the emotional scale, then she'll get back in contact with the guidance, which will take her to the answers that she's looking for, whether it's with individuals or others. So that's really
Okay.
your best and only chance. And you know what the coolest thing about this is, Emily?
What?
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
You then no longer have to solve her problems,
Okay.
because that's where all the stress comes from, doesn't it?
For me, yeah, because I
Well,
just don't.
for all of us. Well, the
Yeah.
reason you don't know is because you can't know.
All right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes absolute perfect sense.
Yeah, so this is a wonderful conversation, and so many people need to hear this conversation in their relationships, whether it's just friends or it's even closer relationships. Suzanne and I learned early on in our relationship to not give each other advice. We're very, very careful about that. We're supportive, but we don't jump in and tell each other what to do. We ask questions sometimes, or we just be present for each other. We've been doing it a long time, so it's easier for us. But it really makes for great relationships if you just if you can do it that way. Plus, like I said, it's the pressure goes away, and then life gets really good.
Okay. Well, thank
Any,
you.
yeah, any
Hi.
other questions on that? Oh, Suzanne, did you have something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I want to add something. When a friend of mine asks me what do I think about something, whether it's if they're dating someone and then they tell me the scenario, one of the things, especially when they indicate, just like your friend did, the weight of the world was off her shoulders when she didn't have to speak to him for a few days. When I hear them finally tapping into an emotion that feels good, that brings them relief, what I like to do for my own self and is, I don't know what the answer is for you, Lynn, but what I'm learning as I continue to, figure my own life out is when something really feels good, that's a sign to me that I'm on the right track. And even no matter what you decide to do tomorrow or the next day, it's always a time I've learned myself to figure myself out some more and what I do and what I don't want. So you never can get it wrong, and it's okay to, um, if you make a decision that doesn't work out, great, you got some clarity, and that's how we figure out what we do want in life anyway. So I always like to just remind my friends that I really have learned that when I have a feeling that feels really good, that's indicating to me it's something I want to pay attention to and keep keep it in the back of my mind to keep that a part of my experience. I don't know if that helps, but that helps.
It does. Thank
And
you.
if she's open to receiving the advice, then um, it's wonderful to give the power back to them. Yeah, that's a great question, Emily. You covered a lot of ground there, so thanks for asking.
Thank you.
Mhm. Beautiful. So, who's next? That's a great way to get us kicked off on relationships is very powerful. So, who else do we have on the line here who wants to jump in? Talk about relationships, active listening, anything to do with law of attraction that's on your mind. Maybe you're not attracting what you want, attracting too much of something you don't want, or you just have a comment about Emily. We're here to listen. Oh, looks like Liz's hand is up. Hey, Liz, unmute yourself. There you go. Hi, Liz.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great, Liz. Good to hear your voice.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sound great.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Well, I enjoyed that conversation about giving it, back to them and letting them gain their own power back. It's something about somebody telling you what to do versus you figuring it out and feeling strong about that and more confident.
Mm.
What a gift. What a gift she could give her friend.
Mm.
And that's happened to me, obviously, with the both of you. You know that. I had an interesting, crazy thing that happened yesterday when I answered your questionnaire.
Mm.
And I was feeling all down and sorry for myself, and my business wasn't what I wanted it to be. Have you ever felt like, okay, it's September 2016, I had thought I'd be farther ahead by now, and I was just all whiny. And then I got your questionnaire, and I started filling it out, and I really got more clarity with the specific question. And is it really that bad? No, it's not that bad. What's going to happen? The world's not going to fall apart. It was really good. And then you got to the question of what would make a difference for me if my business got better. And so one of the answers is first of all, I totally believe that my purpose is to focus on my gifts and what I'm really good at, not what I'm really bad at, because then I'm wasting my time learning something that other people are really good at, if that makes sense. But so I'm not really good at organizing, and I'm not really like gung-ho on cleaning my house, whatever. So one of the answers was that I wanted to afford a cleaning person to come in while I'm doing whatever I'm happy doing, not vacuuming and cleaning windows, etc. And other people, I love that. It's just not me. So it was really fun to actually figure out what would make a difference if my business had grown in a better way. So today, I get an automated phone call of a program that I had belonged to, and if I call, that I have the opportunity to win $200 in Mary Maids. Like, of all flipping things on the planet, who offers cleaning? They offer an iPad, for God's sake, right? They offer a free hour of coaching. They offer what they do best. And of all things, it's an international company that offers Mary Maids. Oh, my gosh. So if I get it or not, it's just getting into, wow, my energy is, knowing that I'm so supported, knowing that when I shift, the world is supporting me. It was really cool.
Nice. So you filled out the survey, and it got you thinking about that things aren't so bad, and to let go of some things that maybe you didn't want to do. And within a day or so, the universe responded with
a few hours.
A few hours. Yeah. The universe responds with the possibility of getting free cleaning service. That's a powerful manifestation, Liz. Nice.
And it's really crazy because after I finished out the survey, now that was the fun part, but there's another fun part to it, because after I filled out the survey, I thought, you know what, I would do anything for Kevin and Suzanne. It's like, I love you guys, and I've never said no, right? And so I'm thinking about, wow, how do they get me to feel that way? And I thought, oh my gosh, all they do is ask. And what a shift in my business, in my life, because I got into a conversation with a friend that asking is so powerful from, to people that you work with or customers or whoever in your life. And that was it's a really good lesson for me. They like to feel like I can handle anything, I'm the powerhouse and the independent one. And it was really eye-opening to say, oh, yeah, you just have to ask.
And you did, like, for instance, the cleaning service idea, and boom, universe swooped down and started opening the doors for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was like a twofold thing. It was fun.
Wow, excellent.
Nice awareness.
Yeah, and thanks for sharing that. That is something we don't do much of. We don't ask we're afraid to ask, like you said, to feel like we've got to do it ourselves, or maybe we're afraid of the response. I know I'm guilty of it at times myself, but how else are you going to get what you want if you don't say it?
Well, I can do all the, energy work, getting into my perfect vibration and doing all that. But if I get an inspired thought to ask people, I kind of feel like, oh, wait a minute, Liz, you should be able to do this by yourself. You should be able to attract new customers. You should be able to attract more money. You should be able to attract the perfect partner. And you know what? Really, I'm not that good. So asking is part of living in the world, part of is part of relationships, and it's interesting because independent women independent women don't want to feel disempowered.
Oh, we're having a hard, I don't know.
Yeah, we're losing your signal there, Liz.
Is your microphone?
No, that's a internet connection.
Oh, probably.
Okay.
Oh, it's better now.
Am I gone?
Nope, you're here.
Yeah. Well, that's so a good point about asking, and the asking is going on non-verbally all the time as part of the contrast. As we go through life, we do ask for improvements. They're just energetic. They're just desires that shoot out. And people who are new to Law of Attraction aren't aware that those asks actually become vibrationally part of the universe, and Law of Attraction works on them even when we don't know that we've asked for something, because we're focused on its lack, the lack of something. That thing that we've asked for vibrationally is actually on its way to us. Everything that we want is on its way to us. Law of Attraction is responding to that. And really the only reason that stuff doesn't actually get to us is because we still are holding the belief that we don't deserve it, or that it's not here, or it's the focus from it. And maybe, Liz, you bring up another good point, which is that the verbal asking maybe actually aligns us enough so that the thing that we've already vibrationally asked for, which is really close at hand, can now find us, because it opens us up to being more aligned by asking. This is very deep stuff.
Right. Yeah, it was really deep today. It was a great day.
All right. And for those of you who on the line, what Liz is talking about in terms of a survey is we sent out a business and a personal survey to our mailing list, and in exchange for a chance to win a free coaching session, either business or personal coaching session. And it's to help us out to formulate the next generation of programs and webinars and coaching plans and so forth that we plan to offer in the upcoming fall and winter time. So if you didn't get that and you want to be involved in the survey, just get on our mailing list. You can shoot us a note here either in the chat box or send us an email, and we'll get you on that. Because having a free hour of coaching can be something that might really kick off your fall season here, and it would really help us out. So that's what Liz was filling out online. All right, wonderful conversation. So who else wants to jump in, ask a question, or if you got something to that you want to share with the group, maybe some advice for anybody that was on the line? Or if you just want to know more about how to ask questions effectively or to become a more effective listener, because that's really what the relationships are all about. It's the act of asking the questions and feeding back what you're hearing and then listening for the answer at multiple levels. That you can go really, really deep with listening. We're just talking about kind of surface level stuff, but there are, as you practice alignment and getting into a really deep resonance and even a meditative state and then have a conversation, you can actually hear thoughts sometimes before the person says them. You can actually start to pick up the vibration of the other individual, and that's when conversations get really deep. Suzanne and I do that kind of randomly at times, where she'll say something I'm about to say and we're not even talking about the subject, or vice versa. We never know who thought of it first, but It's usually simultaneously, apparently.
Apparently. And we laugh.
Yeah.
We laugh every time.
Yeah. So, who else wants to jump in here? Just click your little raise hand button if you got a comment, questions, or something you want to jump in. Maybe something you're trying to work through and you don't quite know how to apply it. We're happy to give you some law of attraction background. Our long workshop, the 6-hour workshop this last weekend was incredibly powerful. We had a room full of individuals who were just ready to go to the next level. And the foundations workshop is we usually start at a more basic level, but these guys all were ready to rock and roll. And they came with a powerful intention, and the energy in the room was just electric. And
It
it's
really
all
was.
about, yeah, all about setting an intention and deciding what you want, and then being open to receiving the answer from whichever direction that it comes from.
Even I had an awareness in that, Liz. This kind of speaks to you about asking, how you, by taking the survey, you put your thoughts to what would I do if my business had grown and I'd get a maid service or something. And I realized way back in my second marriage when I had a husband who was always yelling at me, trying to tell me what I was doing wrong on the computer, I realized I was putting out all kinds of asks for someday someone in my life who could help me with computer without yelling at me. And I never even put that all together. It just came to me. Here I was sitting right next to my wonderful husband, my IT man that I manifested without even writing it down. It was just out there in the universe, and the universe brought it to me along with many other wonderful surprises that I, had been putting out that ask over the years, and all wound up in the great relationship we have. So it's all fun.
Yeah, you can have be or do anything. Just got to find alignment with it and let it in. All right, we got maybe 15 minutes or so here left on the call. For those of you who maybe still want to have something to comment on or want to jump in, I'm seeing a comment here in the chat window.
Yeah.
From Jean Marie, says she can't speak in the mic right now, but interested in active listening with difficult teenagers, especially maintaining my own positive energy in the face of difficulty. Well, that's a big one.
That's a
Jean
good
Marie.
question. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a very big one. So,
This is Nancy. Could I speak
Nancy,
to that
hi.
one?
Please. Hi, Nancy.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Yes.
I have raised two daughters, and one was very hard to communicate with, and it was very hard to get any information out of her. And what I finally learned to do was I'm very fortunate that I was able to be home after school when she got home. I would make sure I had tasks to do in the kitchen when she got home. So when she was sitting there doing her homework, I was chopping vegetables, emptying the dishwasher. And then if she did start to speak, I would always stop what I was doing and give her my full attention. And if I just listened and didn't interrupt, which is hard, because as parents, you want to tell them what to do. I mean, you feel that's your job. But with this child, it was so imperative that I got some information out of her, so I learned to just be there and listen. And then she finally opened up to me, and we had a line of communication.
Nice. So there's a perfect example of putting this into practice.
Uh-huh.
And when Alyssa was 16, she said, Mom, I know a lot of times you want to tell me exactly what to do, but you hold back. She said, I know why you do that. And I said, why? She said, because you want me to think for myself.
Brilliant.
Exactly. This is a child who's wise beyond her years. She's now 18 and doing well. So that's my advice for dealing with teenagers.
Thank you for sharing that. And that comes right from firsthand experience there.
Yeah,
Nancy.
excellent. Excellent.
Yes.
Very nice, Nancy. Very nice. And that really highlights exactly what we were talking about earlier about the active listening. It is about giving the other person full attention. And really, I guess one of the things that Jean Marie and anybody with teenagers could practice would be the two things of listening at multiple levels, and as Nancy did, being sure that they get undivided attention and then not giving them advice, but rather asking questions. if possible. Always turn it back around to them if possible. Ask them what they feel would be the right thing, and then honor whatever they come up with. Because what we were saying earlier, you want to try to get them. You want to always help your children and anybody that you're trying to be of use to find their own connection back with their own guidance system, with their own inner being, because that's the only thing that works anyway. That's the only thing that ever did work anyway, is that inner being. And children, they know this when they're born, knowing that they have this perfect connection, and they haven't lost it when they're little babies, but it's not long before adults start telling them what they should and shouldn't do based on societal norms or convenience or so forth. And then they start to lose the connection, and then that's where the conflicts come in. So it's always about, and this took me well into adulthood. My daughter was into her late teens before I even came across the Law of Attraction or coaching or Dale Carnegie or any of that kind of stuff. And we had a difficult time for a while when she was a teenager. But once I understood what it was that I was doing that was actually disempowering her, then I became much more of a listener when we started having lunches regularly, when I'd drive out to where I was working and she would meet me there. And I just practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced, just always trying to turn it back around to see what felt good to her. And now she's in a great relationship. She's been a professional coach for years and as a top recruiter in her the league that she's in, and really enjoying her life because she found her power back because I stopped taking it away from her. So it's such a funny dynamic, but we all do it. All right, that was an excellent question. And Jean Marie, if you have any other questions, or anybody does, if you can't speak on the microphone or you don't want to, the chat box is right there. Jean Marie says, thank you, that was helpful. You're quite welcome. So you're always welcome to type into the chat box if you don't want to talk on the microphone. So we got about 10 minutes, looks like a little bit more than 10 minutes left here. Who's got the next question or comment that you want to make? Let's go ahead and raise your hand or go ahead and just speak right up.
Well, I just know that no questions are silly, and this time that we're spending is priceless. And I appreciate you guys.
Oh, thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, I'm seeing a hand. Gerda, you've got a hand, and then followed by Emily. So Gerda, go ahead. You're on.
I just met you because I had another coach, something. Anyhow, I just wanted. I don't have anything to say. The only thing that last Saturday I was at that webinar or seminar, not webinar, seminar, what you gave us, and I just want to say it's absolutely fantastic, and everybody should go. It's the home session. No, and you didn't pay me to say that.
No, I didn't even know you were on the line.
There it was. It's in a home setting, only 6 people, very, very intimate. Everybody can open up and say anything. It was just absolutely fantastic. That's all what I want to say. And nobody paid me to say that because it's coming out of my tongue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gerda was one of the ones in the Saturday workshop we were talking about earlier. And she's one of the ones who brought that incredible, powerful energy that made the workshop what it was. It's the participants that do it.
Everybody did that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that, Gerda. I'm so glad that you got something out of it.
Really got a lot out of it. And I'm with Law of Attraction for years already. And it was full of new information and good information. And I came back with my boyfriend. I went with Polito. And we were all so full of energy. It was just absolutely fantastic.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Gerda. That's really made our evening.
Yep.
Wow, that's wonderful. So it looks like, and Emily's got her hand raised again. Em, go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to say that I like participating in these weekly calls because I always learn something from everyone who participates, and I always, at the end, am feeling really good about everything. And then I often don't feel that I'm in alignment except for when I go volunteering at the local therapeutic riding facility that's up the street from my house, and which I did this evening. And I may be out of alignment with the whole rest of my life, but when I'm there helping these young kids who have disabilities of one type or another, helping them learn to ride a horse, I just get so much, I just feel so much better just being there to help them. And the rest of my life might be messed up right now, but for whatever purpose, I'm here doing that, and that helps get me through the rest of the stuff I'm trying to deal with.
Excellent.
But I love participating in these calls because I always learn something from the other participants, and I try to apply it. I'm not yet successful, but
Well, it sounds like you're successful in some areas.
yeah. But, you know, I enjoy. It helps me a lot to hear the success that the other ladies or participants are having.
Okay, well, that's a good point.
Need to learn how to ask questions appropriately for what I'm needing.
Well, one of the things that, and thank you for that, Emily. That's a great feedback. We really appreciate it. And you attracted this, so you are getting it right. You can't actually get it wrong. It's all, there's no the ending point to the journey. It's a infinitely long journey. So you're not. I just wanted to feedback. You're not getting anything wrong.
It feels like I am, but except for that one little spot.
Well, you're kind of hard on yourself, and sometimes being hard on ourselves is one of the things that holds us back from even more abundance that's coming our direction. So we were talking about earlier. So wonderful, how wonderful that you're actually working with kids. And what do you think is different when you're working with the kids than when you're not?
It's when I'm working with the kids, I feel like I'm helping them improve their situation, for them to get joy out of, for that 45 minutes to an hour, to make sure they're happy riding their horses. Like this evening, the young lady I worked with, she's not able to verbalize things, so she kind of makes sounds. But somehow I connected with her because she would reach out to grab my arm, which is something she normally hasn't done in the past. And so I spoke with her sister after the session to ask her how I could try and communicate with her during the ride. And she was, appreciated that I asked her how to do that. Instead of just riding, walking alongside the horse and basically not talking to the young lady. But that just made me feel so much better that I'm helping this young lady for these 45 minutes to make sure she's happy in this experience.
So would you say that you're tuned into her?
Today, based on what they told me, I would say somehow I've connected with her, not knowing how I did that, but yeah.
I wonder if there's... So what I'm hearing is that you're tuning in, the fact that you had a question to ask, you wanted to find out how to connect with her even more, and you asked the question, and then you listened for the answer. It means you were tuned in, you were listening because you noticed that something could be improved. Right? So you were doing active listening, and I would suspect you're probably even more intuitive than you give yourself credit for.
People have told me that, but I'm...
Yeah. Well, maybe people are right.
I think I would apply it better, but yeah.
Well, see, there's that judgment again that's holding it off. So I wonder if you can be nicer to yourself.
Yeah. But anyhow, I just wanted to say that I just enjoy these conversations because I learned so much from the other participants.
Oh, and you always jump right in, and which means that we're all learning from you as well. That's another part of you that's sharing you with us.
Yeah, we appreciate that you jump right in.
Very much so. You're a leader in that respect, Emily.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for being on the call tonight and every night that you're here. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
hmm We're so hard on ourselves, myself included. I've been told that many times by my own coach. Stop beating yourself up. You're getting it right. Nothing's going wrong. But I don't listen. It's it's hard to do. I mean, I'm sure everybody can relate to that to some degree or another. We still got a couple minutes, or we could wrap up early if nobody else has a question or a comment they want to toss in here. We'll give you
I can
another.
I can mention an author I've been really enjoying. She's been on Oprah Winfrey's Super Soul Sunday, and she's written she's a clinical psychologist, a doctor, a PhD, and she's written some really wonderful books on child rearing and communicating with your children in a new and different way. And she talks about energy and getting in alignment and consciousness. She's really right in tune with what Kevin and I are learning and love teaching. And I can't pronounce her name well, but I'm going to spell it. Her first name is Shefali, Shefali, and her last name I can't even pronounce, but it starts with a T, T like in Tom, Tsabary. Dr. Shefali is what Oprah calls her. And one of her newest books is called The Awakened Family. She's also written one, I think it's called The Conscious Parent or something like that. But you just look her up on Amazon. You'll find all of her books. But I found them really enjoyable. And I'm all done raising my children, but I always love learning what the forward-thinking new authors are coming up and helping us raise our children in a different way by active listening, for one. She's very into that, listening to your child and picking up their energy and being focused, exactly all the things that Kevin talked about in the beginning here, all of those special things. So that's my last input on today, I guess.
All right, thank you for that. So it sounds like we have a bit of a theme on listening and children. Oh, I love how those things always seem to emerge. There's always some overlaps and law of attraction points, whether it's in a workshop or a webinar or roundtable calls. Law of attraction, always at work, bringing us all together here. All right, well, we're getting down there enough on time. I think we'll start our wrap up here. Excellent conversations today on active listening and all the things that go around with that. So one of the things that I wanted to share real quickly with you guys is that we're starting a program for those of you who have own a business or are a business manager or salesperson. 90-day program. It's kind of small. There's only 8 spots available, but if you have a business, you want to apply law of attraction over 90 days in a group setting to attract and keep your perfect clients. We help you identify that. We help you tie into law of attraction and how to cultivate without necessarily a lot of marketing and sales and stuff that doesn't feel good to you. And so you also get private coaching, you get one-on-one coaching, and you're in a private group setting, private Facebook page. If you're interested in any of that, let us know pretty soon because the price is going up next week, September 28th, by $100 a month. And just go to our website, psprograms.com/fill-your-biz, B-I-Z, or just send us an email, and we'll get you in the program. And then let's see what else we have here. Law of Attraction. We have another Foundations workshop that what Gerda was talking about on the phone coming Saturday, October 15th. That's about another month from now. There's only 6 slots available. We've already got at least one of them filled. No, maybe it's 2 or 3 of them filled.
Possibly 3. We have 3 already paid.
Yeah. So if you're interested in that, yeah. Jump on our website, get registered right away so you can save one of the slots. And then finally, we got our next meetup of the Law of Attraction Group Billionaires Club on October 13th. And that'll be on empowering your relationships. So we'll take everything that we talked about here today and then some and apply it to how to empower your relationships and really get into some meat in the conversation. This is a live group that we hold in Farmington Hills. We got about 1,400 members in the group, and typically 30, 40, 50 people come to each meeting. It's a really lively, empowering discussion, well worth the time if you're in the area. So you'll get an email with the recording of this in about an hour, and it'll be up on YouTube in the next day or two as soon as Katie gets to it. So you can listen back if you want. Future calls Mondays at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, as always. If you want to learn more about our workshops, programs, coaching, just go to our website, personalsuccessprograms.com. You can also find us on Facebook. Just type in Personal Success Programs in the search bar. And please don't keep us a secret. Please share us with your friends, like us on Facebook, so we can spread the word of Law of Attraction to everybody. All right, I think that's it. Thanks, everybody, for participating tonight, and have you guys a wonderful week. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good night.